Oklahoma's recommended visitation for children aged 9 months to 18 months. I'm Tulsa attorney James Wirth. We're doing a series of videos related to the Oklahoma's advisory guidelines for visitation. That was promulgated back in 2005 based on a law in 2004 that directed that be done by the administrative director of courts. So we're looking at the best interest of the children based on the age and development of the child, as well as other circumstances that come up, and trying to come up with guidelines to have uniformity from court to court and judge to judge. And these have been promulgated out there, and they have recommendations based on the age of the child, but it is ultimately up to the judge in any given case to make a determination on best interest of the child. They've got wide discretion. These are recommendations, guidelines. They are not the law. The judge can follow them or decide to do something different. Nonetheless, though, there are recommendations for children between 9 and 18 months. And it notes at that age, predictability and consistency continues to be really important, but it notes that babies can respond to multiple caregivers. So there is not a necessity that there be one primary caregiver, although often there is at this age. It is not a necessity. They can have strong bonds with both. And it also notes that there's not a preference in the guidelines for mom versus dad. Either parent can be strong. Both parents can be strong. Sex and gender of the parent is not a factor when looking at these guidelines. Notes that each parent should have an opportunity to participate in daily routines such as feeding, bathing, napping, and playing. Each child or each parent should have frequent contact with the child. It's important they not be away from either parent for an extended period of time if they've already established a bond with that parent. Separation of more than 2 to 4 days will interfere with the healthy attachment to that parent during this time frame, according to these guidelines. Establish similar routines in each home and create a communications log to go back and forth in order to communicate what the child has been doing at each house. It notes that if both parties are working outside of the house, it may make sense for them to split the weekends in order that they can have good quality weekend time, that both parents can have good quality weekend time without being away too long from the child. So those are the recommendations here that we're talking about for a child 9 months to 18 months. Once it goes 18 and above, the dynamics change a little bit. There's additional guidelines, but ultimately the judge can determine what's in the best interest of children before the judge, unless the parties can agree, and then that's often adopted by the judges and often is the best situation to occur. But when coming up with ideas on how best to handle it, these guidelines can be helpful there. So if you're dealing with this circumstance, have a case going through a family law court in Oklahoma, you're going to want to talk to an attorney privately and confidentially to get legal advice specific to your circumstances. To get that scheduled with an attorney at my office, you can go online to makelawEasy.com.